So I thought it might take a little while for Sam Bradford to shake the rust off, maybe even as long as a month into the season. Well, I was wrong. We saw why the skill set fits the Chip Kelly offense Saturday night, and Bradford showcased a little bit of everything the Bitterbirds have been saying for months. 10 for 10, 121 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was throwing smoke bombs. His dime pieces were hotter than Mila Kunis. He was outstanding, and the Bitterbirds are here to talk about everything today. Mike Owens is here. Jeremy Burton is here as well. Sam freaking Bradford. That's all I got to say.
It was so perfect, man. Who's ready for the regular season? I mean, I want it to be just tomorrow already. 2 weeks away, but, I mean, what more could you ask for? Sam Bradford was perfect. Every throw was crisp. He stood in the pocket, planted his back foot, threw it with accuracy and velocity every single throw. Tight seams, took a hit and threw a laser to my fourth cousin once removed, Trey Burton. Just beautiful darts all day. I mean, if he can do this in the regular season and stay healthy for 16 games, I said this very early on. I mean, we have a legit chance to make a serious run at a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. All the diehard Eagles fans around the Delaware Valley, including ourselves, had to take a peek down at our pants after the third touchdown pass there that Bradford threw. We had to make sure that this was really happening. And yes, there was a rise. There was a rise from everybody just standing up and applauding what Sam Bradford did. Yeah, it was a preseason game, but in Philadelphia, we're used to disappointment. So when Bradford came out for that third series, we were just begging that there wouldn't be a freak injury. But instead, he just continued to fire on all cylinders. And, boy, maybe Chip Kelly was right. Maybe Bradford is the guy.
Who needs Viagra, Mike? Who needs it? All right, so there were 4 throws that really stood out and showcased, the talent and the skill set of Bradford. You had the first wheel route to Darren Sproles. That was a thing of beauty. Right over the linebacker's shoulder, Sam Barrington. Sproles right into his lap. Touchdown, Philadelphia. Jordan Matthews, the little out cut, the deep out, throws it right on the money. If that is an inch inside, that's a pass breakup because Micah Hyde had good coverage on the play. That's the kind of throw that Nick Foles cannot make. You had the Sproles cross over the middle. He hits him in stride, puts it right on the proper shoulder, allows Sproles to get the yards after the catch, and that's what you want in the Chip Kelly offense. And then one pass later, he throws to Jordan Matthews, puts it right where only Jordan Matthews can catch it. And then there's also the one to Trey Burton. That was my favorite one because he knew the hit was coming. He stayed in the pocket. He was patient, took the hit, delivered the strike. I mean, to say that I'm ecstatic, that's an understatement. He had a passer rating of 156.7. I don't understand why it wasn't perfect, but he was perfect last night.
Well, you mentioned, that pass to Burton there, and that was special because that really showed that Bradford can, take a hit like that and deliver a strike for a touchdown. And it's almost like, this season they always focus the camera angle to whoever's catching the touchdown pass. Well, I wanted a camera angle on Bradford because when I saw him take that hit, I was just praying to God that he was going to get up. Because after seeing how he responded after he took a hit, in the preseason game the week before against the Ravens, it was a little bit worrisome because his emotions were kind of a little bit timid. But I really liked what I saw, Bradford's emotions after that touchdown pass to Burton. He got up with the excitement and, just went over and celebrated with the team. So, it's good to see that Bradford can deliver a strike like that while being hit.
Yeah, for sure. And you could see that fire in his eyes. Like Mike mentioned, I was going to say that after his he got up from the hit and was just yeah, and then just ran in with his teammates and celebrated. And he has the makes of maybe possibly being, it has to be a leader on this offense. And He kind of looked like he did coming out of college when he threw for 4,700 yards and 50 touchdowns and was a Heisman winner.
Yeah, I don't care how meaningless that game was last night. That was a lot of fun. And in two preseason games, two meaningless preseason games, Bradford is 13 of 15, 156 yards, 4 drives, 4 touchdowns. 5 for 5 in the red zone last night. Jesus Christ. This, like Sam Bradford said, the offense is firing on all cylinders.
Yeah. Well, you said one thing there, and you talked about the red zone. Now, that is crucial because, under Chip Kelly, the Eagles have kind of struggled in the red zone. But, with the running backs that we have right now and the way that Bradford played last night, if they can continue to get touchdowns in the red zone, that's really going to be the key to the whole season, executing in the red zone.
That was a huge stat, and it was so good to see. That was a struggle for us, and to see that, the strong running game, the strong offensive line, and Bradford just stood in the pocket. He had good pass protection, and he just executed on all cylinders. It was just the efficiency of the offense and how quick we got these plays off. We scored 25 points, and there was still a couple minutes left in the first quarter. And one of them was a pick six, granted, from Brett Hundley, Walter Thurman. And he danced, of course he danced in. But no, I mean the quickness of our offense, how fast we can put up points. I mean, I don't care when teams start game planning against us or not. Like, that's just impossible to beat if we're playing like that.
Yeah. I've got all 10 throws that he tossed written down here. And I like the first, couple play calls to get Bradford in a rhythm. You had the swing pass to Murray, you had the screen pass, and then you had, the Sproles touchdown, the out route that I referenced earlier. You had a cross to Matthews where he threw it on the proper shoulder. Austin sat down in the zone on a hitch, delivered the strike. You had the one to Burton. You had the Sproles cross, which I referenced too. Matthews shielding the defender, and then the Selleck in the back of the end zone for the touchdown. Those were all 10 throws, and again, all of them perfect. What can you say? Smoke bombs all the way around.
Yeah, there's really not much else you can say, but really just perfection. That's what it was. He was just on target, and when we were headed into training camp with Bradford, and yeah, you hear everyone talk about it. You hear Chip talk about it, that this guy, he's got pinpoint accuracy, he's got a quick release, but until you actually get into a game situation, you really can't tell those things for real. And, well, we got into the game situation here. He had some extended playing time in this game, and, well, everything that we've seen and heard about Bradford in training camp was true.
Yeah, I don't think he ever looked like this at any point when he was a St. Louis Ram. I think this is the offense that's fit for him. That's why Chip Kelly brought him here, and he's just, everyone always said Chip Kelly needed a running quarterback and all that, and Mariota, whatever. But really, it's couldn't be further from the truth. He worked with Nick Foles. He had a career year with Nick Foles, and then now he got his quarterback, hopefully the franchise quarterback. He's still only 27, and to show off his skill set, and he looks healthy. Hopefully Chip's finally got his guy.
Yeah, what you need in the Chip Kelly system is a smart, decisive quarterback, going to get the ball out quick, make quick decisions, very accurate, because there's a lot of crossing routes in the Chip Kelly offense. A lot of stuff where it allows the receiver to get yards after the catch, and it's very imperative to put the ball on the proper shoulder, and Sam Bradford can do that. And the other thing that I wanted to say, too, is he gets the ball out so quick that it's going to limit the sack totals, too, and that's something to keep in mind as well.
Yeah, and, you talk about that, and then that makes me think, well, how does a quarterback respond under pressure? Well, we've had quarterbacks in here under the Chip Kelly system. Well, Michael Vick, we all remember Michael Vick. He would get pressure. We even saw this from Michael Vick yesterday, in his Steelers debut, he gets pressure, and all of a sudden, he just throws the ball straight up into the air, hoping that, someone on his team will catch it. Well, we don't have that anymore. And then we had, Nick Foles. Then we ran into a problem. Nick Foles gets pressure, and all of a sudden he's throwing off his back foot. And, well, interceptions. Well, now, that's what I wanted to see from Bradford last night. How does this guy react under pressure? Well, he did a great job. And, one thing that I really noticed from Bradford was when he did get some pressure, he found the right check down. He would throw it to his running backs out in the flat, or he would throw a perfect pass. So that is key right there, really limiting the turnovers.
Yeah, he's very, very efficient with the ball. That's another one of his traits. But yeah, how quick he can release the pass. It was just so exciting to watch. Especially the Trey Burton throw. I mean, he got nailed and still delivered a strike. The decisiveness and the accuracy. I mean, he's obviously got it. It was something to watch, and I just wish the regular season was on tomorrow.
Yeah, I like Nick Foles a lot. 14-4 as a starter. I think he has all the intangibles you look for in a quarterback. He's very clutch in the fourth quarter, but you could see the differences between Bradford and Foles. Mike, you talked about it earlier with when there's pressure in the pocket, he doesn't get the ball out. He kind of holds on to it and throws off his back foot, back pedals, all that stuff. He's got slow feet in the pocket. And there was that throw that I've referenced earlier that Matthews had along the sideline. Not a lot of quarterbacks can put that on the money the way Bradford did. And Foles can't do that. Foles doesn't have the arm strength that Bradford has. There's some differences, and we saw it last night. And, good luck to Nicky Foles in St. Louis. Had a little bit better game last night, or I think they played yesterday. Looked a lot better. But Bradford, he's a step above him.
Yeah, actually, Nick Foles, I think he actually went, if I'm correct, he went 10 of 11 last night. So, hey, it's close. It's close to Bradford, but he's not there yet.
Oh, man, Bradford just looks so good. And you mentioned the under pressure. The offensive line looked great as well and gave him protection. But when he had to deliver under pressure, he got right back or delivered the right throw. It just shows you that if you have all the intangibles that Chip Kelly wants, and looks like Sam's got it, sure looks like Sam's ready for the regular season.
Now, this is where I guess the Debbie Downer in me is going to come into play. We're going to talk about should we be tempering our expectations of what we're seeing here in the preseason. I mean, we are just beating the shit out of everybody. But it is only preseason. So I posed the question to you guys, should we be tempering our expectations? Are we getting a little bit too overexcited?
Well, of course, the guy in the salmon, is that a salmon shirt or a pink shirt?
No,
of course, he wants to bring down our excitement here on the show. Of course.
No, I don't think we have too much to be worried about. I mean, we're just even when a team starts game planning against us, I still think we'll be just as efficient. We've been so dominant in all three phases of the game: offense, defense, special teams. Our starters are in there all the time. For God's sakes, Kiko Alonso hasn't played a preseason snap yet. Get him in that rotational defense too. It's just I don't know. I always get we always say get our hopes off as Eagles fans, but I am I'm just so excited, and I can't wait to get the season going because I think the sky's the limit. Honestly, we stay healthy.
All right, so here's all I got to say about this whole thing. It's preseason. I kind of went on a little bit of a rant in a video I did earlier this week, and I just don't want us people crowning us as Super Bowl champions yet. It's a process. Let's take one step at a time. Okay. It's the preseason, and the preseason is used to evaluate players and all that good stuff. And we could evaluate Sam Bradford a little bit last night. He looked outstanding. But let's just say this: we're seeing basic offense, basic defense, basic plays, all that good stuff. You're not seeing exotic blitzes against Bradford. You're not seeing teams scheme against him. You're not getting a week to prepare for him because you're evaluating talent. So it's a different kind of game, the preseason and the regular season. Let's just keep calm and chip on and let everything play out. That's kind of my point.
Yeah, now you bring up some good points there. And, if you stop watching that game after the first half last night, well, you would have came away ecstatic. But if you sat there and you watched the second half, you would have seen some things, especially on that defense, that make you worry a little bit. Because in the first two preseason games, we've seen guys like EJ Biggers, who had a great first two preseason games. He came out this game and he sucked. Eric Rowe, he looked all right the first two preseason games. Well, he came out this game and he did not look good. He looked like a rookie in this game. And then you look at safety, a guy like Ed Reynolds, who had 2 interceptions in the first preseason game against the Colts. Well, he struggled a little bit in this game. So, guys in that secondary that looked good in the first two preseason games kind of struggled a little bit in this one. The second half, our second and third string defense, they weren't up to the task because they kind of got carved apart there.
Yeah, I believe we got shut out in the second half. I don't think we scored a single point. It's but that is all third and fourth stringers, guys trying to make the team. I mean, the fourth preseason game versus the Jets is going to be a struggle. We're going to see Matt Barkley and Tim Tebow the whole time. That's going to be a tough one to watch, and we'll have to see plenty of EJ Biggers, who's Adrian's favorite player.
I hate him. He's terrible. Oh boy. So yeah, I mean the Eagles, they've outscored opponents 115-53, but just relax. I saw a tweet last night. I'm hoping it was a joke, but it's like somebody's out there saying the question isn't if the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl, it's how many points they're going to win the Super Bowl by. And that one, I'm just like, oh boy. I wish you could hit the dislike button on Twitter. You just got to relax. just relax.
It is super early. I mean, the season didn't even start yet. So, yeah, there's a lot of things can obviously happen during the course of a regular season in 16 games. But I think out of all the teams in the NFC, that we're right there in the top 3 or 4 teams that are that will make a legitimate run. You look at the Eagles, and I can pretty easily say we're top 5 in the NFC, which means you're making the playoffs, which means you have a chance to win the Super Bowl. So obviously there's going to be excitement, and the way we're doing it in the preseason obviously has been just so much fun to watch, and just the anticipation just keeps building and building for September 14th.
Yeah, well, I think that the biggest thing there is heading into the preseason. In the NFC, we knew that Green Bay and Seattle. Those are the teams that are ahead of us right now, and those are the guys that we're gonna have to go through. So coming into the preseason, I really didn't think that we were at that level, but with the injury with the Packers to Jordy Nelson, and then they also saw Cobb go down last night. It seems like Cobb's injury is not that serious, but couldn't possibly miss the the opener or something like that. It's something to watch throughout the season. And I think we showed last night that, maybe we are ready to compete with teams like the Packers. You look at, our defensive line right now. There's an easy way to the Super Bowl, and that would be Benny Logan eating everybody on the field. Because, this guy, he's hungry because he's been eating everything this preseason. So, yeah, definitely, a little bit of excitement here because of what we did last night with, our first team offense and first team defense. But, the key will be, can we get through teams like Green Bay and Seattle?
It's
I don't
funny.
think we're ready to beat Seattle yet, but
Yeah. Benny Logan, oh my God. What a beast. He's only played about like a quarter or so every game. So add them all up, maybe he played maybe 4 quarters total the preseason so far now. And just it seems whenever he's in there, he's 3 yards deep into the backfield and just push the offensive line back. It's just nuts. And he's quick for a big boy.
Oh boy, he can scoot. I was tempering my expectations with him too because the first 2 weeks going up against Colin Holmes against the Colts, it stinks. But last night he went up against Corey Linsley. Corey Linsley is a very, very underrated center, and that one play where he was 5 yards into the backfield, basically hitting Lacey as he was getting the handoff. Najee Good did that too in the second half. That was awesome. That was awesome. But yeah, man, Benny Logan, I am loving him this season. The third year is really when you kind of make the leap from, I don't know, say really good player to the Pro Bowl kind of level. And we saw it with Fletcher Cox last season. Perhaps this season, Benny Logan's going to take that leap.
And also on the D line, Cedric Thornton looked very good. He was in on a couple. He got his hand in on a pass. Good pressure on the quarterback. He actually was top, I think, 3 in the league last year in fumble recoveries. So he's our defensive line is beautiful. You got Fletcher Cox next to Benny Logan with Cedric Thornton. And then we have our inside linebackers, all Pro Bowlers. The defense is really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the front seven are really the strength of the team, especially the defensive line.
Yeah, definitely. I'll just pose this question really, really quickly before we move on to the next topic. If you had to choose between one player, who would you rather extend, Vinnie Curry or Cedric Thornton?
Cedric Thornton.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
Yeah,
I think
that's the way I kind of used to feel, but now I'm seeing the way Logan and Cox are playing against the run. I kind of want the pressure from Curry, but I think Thornton's the better player. But in terms of a differentiation with the sacks and the pressure, maybe Curry's the guy. But yeah, man, that's a tough question to answer for me.
Yeah, I think that really, you won't be able to answer that until this season is over. I think that this is a really big year for Vinnie Curry.
Definitely is. We did extend somebody else this week. That was Michael Kendricks, and shoring him up. He was in there next to D'Amico last night. Kiko was out, which I'm fine with. Just be ready. As long as Kiko's in there week 1. But I mean, our linebacker rotation in the inside is just sexy. That's what it is. And I hope that I would slide Kiko out on the outside and get in that rotation because Marcus Smith. I mean, who knows? I heard the other day that he was on the roster bubble. I'm like, that would be a ballsy move for Chip to cut Marcus Smith, but he does make ballsy moves. I don't know. So we'll see what happens with the outside linebacker rotation. You can put our WWE wrestler in there, Brian Brayman. And then, like you said, Vinnie Curry as a possibility out there if he can help out and fix his coverage skills. Because we know he can rush the quarterback, but it's definitely a big year for Curry and Thornton. You're right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all right, moving on. All right, let's talk about Tim Tebow's gadgetry and the 2-point conversions. And this is what I got to say about this. The whole 2-point conversion thing, it looks good on paper. It sounds intriguing. And then you watch it, and I think to myself, well, I'd rather have DeMarco Murray run the draw and Sam Bradford throw the slant. What do you guys think?
Yeah, well, I mean, after watching the plays that they ran with Tebow on the 2-point conversion, I don't think they really gave him a chance. I mean, they had Tebow, the first 2-point conversion, they have him running, up the middle against 300-pound guys on the defensive line. I mean, come on, that's not going to work. He's not going to get in. But what this whole two-point conversion thing with Tebow tells me is that if he's probably going to make the team over Barkley because they like his running capability. So that whole 2-point conversion gadget thing with Tebow, that kind of just showed me that they probably like him over Barkley in that sense because they can do things like that.
Yeah, even though it didn't work well last night, it looks like I kind of agree with Mike. It looks kind of like Tebow might make the team. But the one slant, it was just the worst throw. The second 2-point attempt was the worst throw I've ever seen in my life. It wasn't even a spiral. The defender was directly in front of the receiver. He was not open at all. He threw the defender couldn't catch it because it was such a poorly thrown ball, or else it would have been an interception. Barkley was awful too. They both stink. I mean, if we see that either of them start a game this year for the Eagles, I mean, we're just screwed.
We're screwed. Yeah. I mean, that one pass was a knuckleball. Tim Wakefield would have been proud. Oh boy, yeah, Tebow, man. Kind of struggled yesterday, I'd say. Had the one cross to Bailey where he threw it at his shoe tops. Bailey did an outstanding job making that catch. Bailey raising a lot of eyebrows, obviously, the way he's catching the ball. And then he had the one fumble. I mean, he did get back on it with, had the miscommunication with the zone read with, I don't remember if it was Mostert or Manangai, however you pronounce his last name. Yeah, I mean, he's probably going to make the team. I'm not happy about it, though. I think he stinks.
Yeah, the one pass you mentioned, the Bailey, was kind of funny because, Mike Mayock, we love Mayock, and as soon as, Tebow threw the ball and it was complete to Bailey, he immediately, all the Tebow people were, getting up and applauding, oh, my God, Tebow, what a throw. And he's like, everybody calm down. This was a horrible throw, and thank God that Bailey somehow made a miraculous catch because that was all Bailey. But, yeah. Tebow really saw limited playing time, to say the least, because he had a series there at the end of the game when he was literally just handing the ball off and kneeling down to end the game. So didn't see much of Tebow, and really Barkley was awful too. The whole second half offense just blew. So yeah, they were both bad.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Barkley went 5 for 9, and Tebow was under 50% too, as usual. But yeah, the fumble he need to get back, Tebow. But I don't know. They both stink. That's all I can say.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the secondary. Experimented a little bit last night with the nickel packages. You had Carroll, slide inside on those packages. You had Rowe play outside. There was the one play you had a miscommunication between the two, and there was I guess it was ruled an incomplete pass after the review and on the field. Rowe got beat, got a lot of separation against him. So we saw some growing pains with Rowe, and the one guy that we saw come back down to earth was E.J. Biggers. Oh boy. He was getting spun around like my cousins on the merry-go-round. He was awful. 7 of 9 were receivers going up against Watkins against Biggers last night. Allowed 104 yards. He was on a whole nother level of suck. Terrible.
Yeah. Well, he looked like the E.J. Biggers of the Redskins, last night. So kind of brought him back to reality there. But, you talk about the secondary, and you look at the corners. You have Maxwell, you have Nolan Carroll, and so far through the first 3 preseason games, it looks like you're going to be pretty solid at those 2 spots. Looks like they're going to be able to, get the job done. But then you really got to, look at that third cornerback spot, really, kind of the slot, and kind of where I think they're going to struggle a little bit early on in the season. because the guys that are really going to, be playing, well, you're going to see a lot of Rowe, and you're going to see a lot of probably, it looks like Jalen Watkins at this point, because it seems like he's, steadily improving, had a nice game last week. I mean, yesterday, especially in coverage. So it's really going to come down to how Rowe and Watkins can play. And like I said, they're going to struggle a bit, but I think as the season goes along, they'll improve. But it's definitely going to be a bit of a struggle with that third cornerback spot.
And you mentioned Watkins. He impressed me a little bit last night, especially in coverage. There was one zone coverage where he was on a high receiver, but then read the quarterback. He was going to the lower receiver, just broke right for the ball, and he couldn't come in with it. But that could have been an interception. And then E.J. Biggers looked god awful. But Eric Rowe, I like the idea that in the base formation you got Carroll and Maxwell, but then when there's in the nickel package, maybe swing Carroll in the slot, and then Rowe can be on the outside. So we'll see how they do that rotation, but Eric Rowe, he definitely has some growing pains as a rookie.
Yeah, like Mike was saying, it's going to be something that should improve as the season goes along. There's going to be a lot of tinkering, I think. You're going to experiment with the Carroll thing. Maybe you're going to see some Watkins inside. I don't think you're going to see Rowe inside. I don't think Rowe is built to be a slot quarterback. Watkins is the intriguing name to me. I think Biggers. I've given up on Biggers. He teased me for 2 games, and then it was like Curtis Marsh last training camp. He put together a good training camp, and then the preseason started, and he was god awful. So I am off the E.J. Biggers, any bandwagon that had any seats on it. It's gone. It's done. But Watkins, Jeremy said it. He was good in coverage. I thought he was fine, and I'm seeing steadily him improving. Now, just really quickly to touch on Rowe, just wanted to say this really quickly because receivers are getting a lot of separation on him early on this season. He's getting a little bit too overextended on his presses at the line. I'm seeing him fell down twice last night. But to me, it's nothing to be really worried about because these are the growing pains that you see in a rookie cornerback. It takes time. There is a huge transition and a huge difference between the college game and the pro game. And we're seeing it right now with Rowe. So it's nothing to be worried about. Just let the process play out. He'll get better. He'll learn. They're going to coach him up. They're going to show him the tape, and he's going to improve.
Yeah, well, Chip Kelly, he likes to ride his bicycle to, practice. But Rowe, if you head out there about 7 a.m., go to the boathouse Rowe, you're going to see him rowing his boat. And he won't be on the inside lane. He's going to be on the outside lane. You'll get a nice view. He's going to be working on his technique. And, it seems like we've got the right defensive backs coach here to, work on those techniques with him. So, like Adrian was saying, this is going to be a struggle early on with him, but he'll improve as we go along. The one guy that I want to mention briefly here is Walter Thurman. This is a guy that, they're really going to bring down into the slot in some packages. He's a guy that's kind of caught my eye because he's played well. He's played really well here in the preseason for a guy that's really never played the safety spot before. He's going to be key because he's going to get a lot of playing time.
Yeah, Walter Thurman really caught my eye as well. And, this is a Super Bowl winning. He was a corner then, but he won a Super Bowl in the, Legion of Boom. So, he brings that veteran leadership. He's been in high pressure games. He goes back there next to Malcolm Jenkins, who is also, he looks like he's 40, but he's actually only 27. Malcolm Jenkins is still in the prime of his career too. Our secondary, we got the right coach. Rowe will learn. He'll get acclimated every week, and he seems like a smart kid. He's got all the intangibles you look for in a corner, so I'm really not worried about Rowe. Our secondary is going to improve at least double what it was last year. I mean, we were like dead last. We were 31st in the league in again the passing defense. We're at least going to be in the top 15. I can guarantee it.
Let's move on to the guard spot, and the one guy who really caught my eye last night was Andrew Gardner. I thought he was fabulous in the run game, getting a lot of push. In the screen game, he was downfield making blocks. He did struggle a little bit in pass protection, but Bradford was getting the ball out so quick it didn't even matter. He's a guy that's really impressing me. Alan Barbary was solid too. The guard spot, it looked like a position of weakness heading into training camp, but you know what? They're fine.
Yeah, no, I mean, we were kind of initially worried, going in, the training camp after the release of Evan Mathis and Harriman's leaving for the Colts. Kind of a little bit worried. And then the Eagles were saying that, Barbary, he'll be fine there at left guard, they said. So, we were kind of pessimistic about that, but he's done a nice job. He's played solid. And then the right guard position has kind of always been open. It's kind of been a battle there, but Andrew Gardner has won it outright. And gotta say, I'm a bit shocked because Andrew Gardner is a guy who he struggled here last year, but this year he's a totally different guy.
Yeah, the offensive line has impressed me, especially the guard spots. We thought it was a position of weakness. I always said, we have the anchors on the outside and the anchor in the middle. So in between them, they kind of make Kelsey and Peters and Lane Johnson kind of make the guards better by having such great players around them, and as they get cohesive, and you can see the dividends it pays off with all the how he's improved, and we've all been shocked by Gardner, I think.
Yeah, he's been outstanding. No complaints from him. The thought was maybe that John Moffitt would win the job. Moffitt's looked horrible. Gardner's really stepped up. And, that's something that kind of seems to happen in Philadelphia. We seem to develop guards, and we're doing it again. I mean, Gardner was not very good last year. And all of a sudden, we're seeing a complete 180 turnaround with him. And it's great to see.
Yeah, hopefully Moffitt doesn't go back and do drugs because his preseason hasn't been that great. So hopefully, he stays in line here with the Chip Kelly plan. Originally, we kind of predicted that Moffitt might take over that starting role halfway through the season. Well, I think barring any injury at this point, I think that Gardner's really got this on lockdown for the season.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Last topic that we're going to discuss. Safety spot. Well, we know what we got in Thurman. We know what we got in Jenkins. But who are going to be the guys behind him? The guy that I think has been stepping up the last two games, had the appendectomy, but he's making a lot of plays, especially in the run game. He's taking proper angles. He's making tackles. I am loving what I'm seeing from Jerome Coupling.
Yeah, no, Coupling, he played really nice yesterday. And, talk about his appendectomy, he kind of got set back there for a few weeks. So it's nice to see him come out and put a performance up like that last night. The one guy that struggled last night that played well in the first two preseason games, like I kind of talked about before, was Ed Reynolds. So really it's going to be a battle there between, Ed Reynolds and Coupling, because I only think that one of those guys make the team because you also got to, account for special teams guys. Maragos, they count him as a safety, so he's making the team. And then you also have Prozinski in that mix, who is a special teams guy. So it's I think it's either going to be Reynolds or Coupling who makes the team.
Yeah, Mike said exactly what I was going to say. I mean, there's already going to be 4 safety spots locked up with Chris Prozinski and Chris Maragos being great special teams players, and Ed Reynolds stood out one special one. I think it was during a punt last night. He just completely blew a coverage. He looked bad in special teams. These are plays you got to make if you want to make the team.
Yeah, I've been on the Coupling bandwagon for a little while, and I I think he's the guy. Ed Reynolds, great first game, but hasn't been as good since. And yeah, I would take Copeland all day over those two. All right, so that's pretty much it. We covered everything. Talked Bradford, talked everything else, all the position battles. Any under the radar guys you guys want to talk about? Anybody?
I thought, Brandon Bear, he made some plays again last night. Obviously, it looks like he's making the team at this point. I'll tell you what, the Eagles are, they're pretty stacked at wide receiver, but they're going to have some interesting decisions to make, and I'm intrigued to see where they go with this because Miles Austin is kind of like a guy that I don't know if he's going to make the team right now. I know that they like him as a veteran, but really haven't seen much of him here in the preseason. And the one guy that has shined is, Rasheed Bailey. I mean, the local product. So I'm interested to see if Bailey can really make this team because, I think he's done everything that he can do in the preseason.
I totally agree. I love Rasheed Bailey, the story, the player. He can make plays. He's quick. He's got great hands. I hope he makes the team. But we're deep at receiver. Like Mike said, we are. There's Jeff Mail that had a great possession with Sanchez, put up a bunch of yards and scored a touchdown. I know Chip loves him. He's a fellow Oregon Duck. Miles Austin, that's an interesting point. I know the young receivers talk highly of him as a mentor and a great leader and veteran. So we'll see where if he'll make the team just based on that. And another exciting part of our depth, is in the running back position. We saw Philip Mostert and Kenyon Barner just tear it up recently, and they're probably going to end up in the practice squad. At least Mostert is.
Yeah, we never talked about that. Barner, that 150-yard screen pass. Oh, he's got some jets.
Yeah, he can run, man. I really like this Barner guy. When we got him, we acquired him last year. He really didn't do anything. He kind of saw some playing time, and it didn't work out too well. But this season, totally different. He's got an off season under his belt now here in the NFL under Chip Kelly, and it's providing some great dividends right now. So I think Barner will make the team, but obviously he'll be strapped for playing time outside of special teams.
Barring any injury, hopefully no injuries will occur to our running backs. But even if God forbid it does happen, we have that depth with Barner who has shown to be able to run and catch and play special teams.
Yeah. All right. So just some cuts before we get out of here. These are some players who have reportedly been given the boot. Got Mike Kacha, Jared Hot Wheels Wheeler, Kevin Graff, not a surprise to any of us, Mike Johnson, Alfie Hill, and G.J. Kinney. So those are some of the guys that have been cut. Emmanuel Acho was cut earlier in the week, and that's that. So, not really any thoughts on those guys. Those are all expected, obviously.
Yeah, the Eagles had to get down to 75 players by Tuesday. They're at 78 right now. I believe the Acho thing isn't official yet. I think they're gonna obviously waive/injured him, and then they're gonna place the Ja'Cory Shepherd on IR. So that'll leave one more move that they'll have to do to get down to 75. Obviously, no big names on that list. Only one, G.J. Kinney. His era in Philadelphia has come to an end. But don't be shocked if he's back on that practice squad. That's where he's really lived here in Philadelphia, is on the practice squad.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. So, one more guy. That's it. And the thing that I love about these cuts, everything about Chip is fast, even the cuts. Just
Yeah, he didn't waste any time. That's for sure. He doesn't want to wait until Tuesday. But as Chip said this week that this set of cuts this year, they're going to be the toughest ones so far for him in the NFL because he really feels they have a lot of depth here in Philadelphia. So obviously the cuts getting down to 75 is somewhat easy, but getting down from 75 to 53, that's where it really becomes tough for the coach to make those decisions. But we're going to have a show here in the next day or two where we're going to predict the 53-man roster. So if you tune in, we'll let you know who is going to make the Eagles 53-man roster.
I like that idea. That's good. Yeah, the final set of cuts is going to be interesting. There's a lot of I wouldn't be surprised if Chip has wowed us in the past a lot with his moves. So I would expect maybe a few wows.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Should be very, very, very interesting. All right, it's final thoughts time. So this is when you two get to give your final conclusions to the show, to what you guys are thinking. It doesn't even have to be Eagles. Talk about whatever you want. We'll start with Mike.
My final thoughts are, what was that really Sam Bradford last night? Because if that was a Sam Bradford, and if that's how he's going to play as a Philadelphia Eagle, then, well, I don't think we have to worry about the quarterback spot.
Yeah, all I can really say is I'm ready for September 14th, and I want to see this offense put up points and go on a Super Bowl run.
All right. I'll just give a really, really quick final thought because I hate Pro Football Focus. I think they are a joke. And they gave Dennis Kelly a positive grade last night. Dennis Kelly stunk. He was terrible last night. I don't know what they see sometimes. So that's all I got to say. So with all that being said, we're out of here. Mike Owens, Jeremy Burton, I'm Adrian Fedke. Go Birds. And, well, let's temper the expectations a little bit. But we can dream, and hopefully our dream will be fulfilled. We're out of here. Go Birds, baby.
Say.
Go Birds.